Good morning. This might be my only chance at water, so we have a very, very full meeting. That's probably because I missed a couple over the last 3 months, yeah? So I'm just going to take it, you missed me. Well, I missed you too. So, with love, let's get started. For questions, you know what to do. jkvlive@johnknox.com. You can call at 386-456-1558, or you can send text messages to 386-507-4236. Yes? Now, the best thing to do is get your questions, issues to me. If you can get them to me a week in advance, I can build it into my presentation. Otherwise, what happens is I hit hot buttons. And this happens to be a meeting where we have some hot buttons. Val, I will always, almost forever, put the Val in my presentation. We have 60 new units that people have moved into. I think that accounts for better than 80 new people on campus. That's a lot of new residents. So this might be the first time they're tuning into this, and we want to make sure if we didn't do a good enough job of what is VAL, the Village Alert Line, that they know. Don't opt out. We're in the middle of hurricane season. We send out updates, we send out alerts, and if there is an outage, if there is a water main break, you will hear Shannon's lovely voice come and tell you about it. Occupancy. We have made some really great strides, haven't we? I kind of changed the graph a little bit. Independent living is 467 out of 542 for 86% occupancy. If you include all the deposits that we have, and the rest is the breakdown. 16 additional deposits, that's 483 out of 542, so that's 89%. Now here's an interesting fact. If we take apartments out of the equation, take out the 100 apartments and take out what their occupancy is, we are at 93.1% occupancy. So, but we have a plan for that, and we'll discuss that too. Cottages, 274 out of 300. So that's 91%. Apartments, 58. Villas, 72 out of 74. Villas are currently Silverstones in Holly Branch. That's where we get that number. And then Valencia Landing, that is separate. But you'll also notice, I think we've sold this last Valencia twice now. And somebody has backed out. We recently had it sold, and then somebody just backed out. So once that is 100% sold, then we will combine all the villas together. We'll combine the Silverstones, Holly Branch, and Valencia Landing all under villas. Oakview Suites, 47 out of 49. They're having a very nice year. Majestic Oaks, 109 out of 135. We've taken 15 beds out of service because we're doing a renovation at Majestic Oaks, and we will discuss that also. I want to take a minute to talk about a couple things before I move forward. I know many of you have brought issues to us. It's the summer, and things are kind of crazy. We just last night presented our budget to the board for monthly service fee increases. We've had a lot of people doing a lot of projects and moving a lot of things forward. It may not necessarily be yours that we have focused on over the last couple of months. But I want to make sure that you understand that we know that we have issues and you have concerns. Just because you don't see a lot of action doesn't mean we haven't taken action. We have, for example, one of the nagging things that has come up, and I want to talk about because this has nagged me because now it is getting into being a year old, is landscaping. Our landscaping is horrible, and I'm being kind. I know that. But what I want you to know is we know that, and we're taking action behind the scenes. We won't always tell you what we're doing, but some of the things that we've done is we've reassigned some duties. We've split duties out. We've reassigned some things, and we're reconstituting, putting more people at what that particular issue is. And some of it is paying those people more money. What we did to ourselves, and we knew it was going to happen, is we had until 2026 to move our employees up to $15 an hour minimum wage. Pandemic came, what happened? Everybody scattered, and jobs were hard. Getting people to fill jobs was hard to come by. We decided, we talked about it openly here, we were going to do that a lot quicker. And in January of this year, we moved all our employees to a minimum of $15 an hour. What does that do to you? That causes compression for our employees. So where we may have had a nice $5 or $6 gap between a skill set of a particular set of employees, we don't have that gap anymore. So now, wages continue to increase and continue to go up. We know that. We keep our finger on the pulse of that, and we try to do the best job that we can with that to ensure we get quality people. My opinion is we are very fortunate to have such quality employees that we do have. I am impressed with the employees that we have. They do an outstanding job, and sometimes it's a matter of just not having enough bodies. So, that being said, I am not setting you up for a 10% increase in your monthly service fees, okay? I am not doing that, and it's not 10%, so get that out of your head. But we will talk about that in September. All right, this is what I know about the portal. It's coming. If you were here today thinking you're going to see Shannon up here talking about the portal, surprise. Shannon is next week. She is on the 28th. I am told that there are residents that are currently trying the portal out. I know I was given access. I haven't had time to play on it at all. It is different, and I think it is going to be significantly better. We have residents like yourselves trying it out to make sure that it works the way it's supposed to work, and it is intuitive for you as it's supposed to be. Shannon will do her presentation. I believe she plans on, kind of sneak peek of on the 28th what that is. And if you're very interested and it's important to you, show up. Okay? Political activities, we talked about this. No sooner did we talk about this, and we had an issue come up. 501c3 prohibits these organizations like John Knox Village to be politically involved in certain activities, whether it's directly or indirectly participating, intervening on any political campaign or behalf. We good? League of Women Voters. We have hosted League of Women Voters in the past. They've provided education on the proposed amendments during that current election cycle. We originally scheduled them for September 6th to provide education on Amendment 4. Well, it has been brought to our attention that League of Women Voters has already taken a position on Amendment 4. Now, don't take my word for it. When I come up here and I tell you something, I challenge you to go prove me wrong, or in most cases, prove me right. You can go to their website, you can go to League of Women Voters for Florida, and you can see they've taken a position. That's where I went. Now, the question is does that make them unbiased and nonpartisan? I don't think it does. I don't want to get into in the middle, rock, hard spot, Joe. I want to stay out of that. So what we will do is we'll try to find a way to get you information, unbiased, nonpartisan information on the amendments. I'm going to guess right now as we review our policy, I think one of the best ways to do that is take that to a resident group and let resident council set that group up. Take that information to them and let them hash it out. So whatever the final product is the final product. And then we'll review it to make sure it's unbiased and nonpartisan. I think it's important that you have information for the election. Regardless of whatever your beliefs are, I support them. Because I would ask the same for you in me standing up here and sharing this information with you. So we have canceled the event on September 6th. I know some people are going to be upset. I understand that. Some other people who have brought it to our attention are going to say, okay, that's the right thing to do. It is unbiased, nonpartisan, regardless of what your belief is. Whether you're on one side or the other, once somebody who's giving you information tells you their opinion, are they really unbiased and nonpartisan? And we don't think so. Because it was more than me that had that chat. Administration update. I am going to start picking it up because if I continue at this pace, we will be here until 11:30. I know you might want, no, just kidding. All right. Employees and volunteers must not provide residents with their home address. We try to keep a distinction between employees and residents. And on social media, sometimes that's hard. You befriend somebody and all of a sudden they're passing information. We want to make sure that we maintain a professional relationship with the people that we care for. And I know sometimes you will become friends with some of our employees. Our employees will become friends with you. But we have to make sure that we're very, very careful that what we post, how we post it, and what we say on social media, and our employees are not giving you their personal history. What has happened in the past is it's a hook, hooks you into their life, and then they have financial trouble. And they're going to come to you and ask for financial assistance unknowingly. Or they'll talk about their problems and you want to help them. I know that because I look at the Employee Appreciation Fund every year to see what you take out of your pocket to give to our employees. It's a significant amount of money. When you give it to the fund, it gets dispersed evenly amongst everybody and fairly amongst everybody. So please, we don't want this, the next step to be is now you're helping somebody financially and you shouldn't be. So please be aware of that. And we're going to jump right into beauty shop hours because I'm told they were changed. Monday is by appointment only. Tuesday, 9:30 to 2. Wednesday, 9 to 4. Thursday, 9 to 4. Friday, 9 to 4. And Saturday, 9:30 to 2. I can't talk enough about the last will and testament. It is important. Your paperwork, update your documents, communicate. If you have not looked at your will in the last 2 years, do so in the next 30 days. Make sure the people that you've assigned still want to make sure they want to go ahead and be the executive of your estate or take care of the things that you want them to take care of. We have just gone through a nightmare with a family that had somebody, they decided not to do it. They had to go get letters of administration. Now, typically, that's a pretty quick process. I think it was like a 5 or 6 week process it eventually ended up being. And that was a stress on the estate, stress on the family, just because somebody opted and decided they wanted to opt out. So please make sure, if you have not talked to the people that are supposed to take care of your estate, please make sure you do that. Remember, tomorrow's not promised. And then make sure that you stay informed of changes in regulations and laws affecting estate planning. Clinical services, yes, we still have COVID cases. It is being passed among mostly you, independent living, but we do have staff and residents that have had it. If you're in a large group, if you're sick, not feeling well, what should you do? Stay home. You know it. Please do it. Don't go out with a group of people and have dinner. That's how it got started again. We wanted to let you know that Holly Stevens, she was the case manager, is now the Assistant Director of Nursing in Home Health. We've been able to pick up some contracts through Aetna, Aetna Medicare, Aetna Commercial, and TRICARE, Humana Military for home health. So if you have those, that is good. We are working with a company designated to help us improve our contracts. Our contracts for home health were old. We were getting reimbursed at a level that wasn't even paying our expenses. So as we've gone through these, we've been able to add new contracts, and we hope to continue to add new contracts to be able to get paid for those. Everybody knows the support groups, right? Sales and marketing, here's some good numbers. Now this is through July 31. We've had 60 sales through July 31, and we've had 60 move-ins. Pretty good numbers. Kind of like that. You'll see the big old QR code over on the side. Marketing is working on doing a grassroots marketing campaign up and down the East Coast, because that's where we have opportunities to expand. So you can pull that QR code, we've put it on some flyers and other things that we're sending out, put the QR code, go on and schedule a tour. So if you know somebody who is interested, we do have one Valencia Landing unit available. All right? It is a 3-2, by the way. Themed meals, we love to make sure that you understand. We want you to participate in these. That's why we do those. There's a men's lunch bunch, Margarita Wednesday, Chef's Cook-Off, Welcome to Autumn. And I had somebody bring that back to my attention again, is we do not use fall for the third season of the year. As oddly it is, because when we say fall, people think that somebody who fell. So you'll hear us in our nomenclature, we've changed it to autumn. So we're going to welcome autumn, not fall. Waffles and Such Breakfast, September 26th, and Oktoberfest. Don't miss that. Candace and her team have worked very, very hard to make sure that they provide entertainment and free quality entertainment. I cannot be more pleased by the quality of entertainment that she has been able to provide over the last year. Each month gets better than it was the month before. So when you see Candace, and I know she's sitting in the back, give her some kudos, her and her team. This is some nice entertainment, and please attend. What happens if you don't attend? These go away. Who wants to perform in front of empty Barker Center? I don't care if you're up here and 50 people. Really? We can fill this place. It's free. Attend, please. New staff, Sandy McPhillips, who's not new to John Knox. She had retired and worked PRN, has decided to come back to work full time. Stan has hired her as his assistant. She's a hospitality administrative assistant. And then Doug Zimmerman, resident assistant. He's part-time. He'll be covering evenings and weekends. Oak Tree Grill, we have worked with the ad hoc committee. We've ordered new tables and chairs. We will be painting the walls a different color. And when we go in to do that, we will also be doing the bathrooms that are across from the grill. We're kind of spruce them up a little bit and give them a facelift. The next project for dining services in regards to that is the Cranes Dining Room. We will be going into the Cranes Dining Room. We're looking at paint and carpet. I provide no secret. I have no secrets in regards to I don't like flat walls. I like knockdown on walls. Hides a lot of blemishes, hides a lot of faults within the wall. So when you look down the wall, you don't see a nice little wave. You don't see that with knockdown. So we are looking at taking care of that all at once. So that is a project when we get done with the grill. And reminder, when using the pool, dry off before you go in the clubhouse. Water on the bottom of your foot, and it's not autumn. That part is fall. And then they're working on the Barker Center Music Room. That's underway. Salad bar, salad bar, salad bar. I don't know, maybe I've had this conversation with the wrong group of people. We do not allow you to bring your own to-go container and fill it with items from the salad bar. Now, as much as you're chuckling, there are people that do this. Why don't we allow it? Here's a list. We have issues with food safety, cross-contamination, and non-approved containers. If you get sick, then you're going to blame it on us, but it could be a case where you didn't clean your container. If you want a salad bar and you want it to go, ask, we'll get you an approved container, and yes, we will charge you for it. You can do that, but it needs to be in a container and you need to pay. What does it do? It also creates some operational challenges for us, people using the salad bar, taking additional items off that might not be available for somebody who's going to go ahead and be later. Increase our costs. It also increases our staff. Staff have to fill that salad bar a little bit more frequently. Fairness. We try to be fair. What we do for one, we have to be ready, willing, and able to do for everyone. And what we do for everyone else, we have to be ready, willing, and able to do for one person, regardless of how we might feel about them. So, that being said, I am not willing to call open season on our salad bar. You want the salad bar to go? Please pay for it. Please pay for it. We also have regulatory compliance, and then obviously promoting positive dining experience and enjoying meals together. Please. So, I have asked dining staff, if you bring in a cooler on a roller, I'm going to have them report that to me. While they go ahead, and I've instructed them to go ahead and ask you not to fill that, if you so choose to do it, that issue will now come to my desk. It won't go to Stan, it will come to me. So please, I'm asking you, don't do it. Fair enough? Meal plan. Another one of those rumors. It's been passed around that we take your unused meal credit and we take that money and we go ahead and give it to the Employee Appreciation Program. Now I can see by some of your faces like, Joe, have you lost your mind? That's not what we do. Regardless what our employees might be telling you, that is not what we do. This is what we consider the meal program. It is just like, I'm going to summarize the next two slides for you, but if you want to go through them, we certainly can. It's like you getting a coupon for, let's call it fish bones. Where are you going to be able to use that dining coupon at? Fish bones. And you got to use it before a certain amount, certain time, right? And if you don't use it, what happens? It's useless to you. Just think about that. What we do with our dining program is we carve out a certain amount out of your monthly service fee, for you to enjoy a variety of meals. Otherwise, we would be on a 1 meal a day program. We would have one kitchen. They would serve 3 entrees at lunch, 4 at dinner, with a variety of vegetables and a salad bar, and that would be your dining program. You have all proven beyond a shadow of a doubt you're much smarter than that. You decided you wanted open season. If you want surf and turf, you have the ability to do that. If you want to go to the Bay dining room for comfort food, you've decided you want to do that. Or if you want to go to the bistro and get a pizza, you can do that. On any one particular day, we have how many entrees? Don't tell me a lot. You should know this number. It's 94. 94 items to eat. You can't find something? I will come dine with you, but guess whose meal plan we're going to use? We're going to use yours. And of course, I'm kidding. Please, our dining staff work incredibly hard. And I know sometimes food might be a little inconsistent. It might not necessarily be the same as you had it last week. We might have somebody else different who's preparing it. That is something we'll work on. And when you have 94, that's an awful lot of different stuff to be able to eat. We good? I can go through this if you want. All right, I like that. Hurricane preparedness. We're not done yet. Okay? Remember 2 years ago, September 29th, we got hammered? So if you haven't, please create an emergency kit, develop a plan. We've worked on trimming trees and removing dead trees. Sometimes a light breeze will come through our community and identify a tree we haven't identified. The reason it's identified it is because now it has fallen. We have, I believe they call them water oaks, that rot from the inside. While on the outside they may look good and healthy, they rot on the inside. All the new trees we provide are not water oaks. We provide a variety. But many of these trees are beyond their useful life, if I can say that. And while we'd like to cut them all down at the same time, that's a little cost prohibitive. And so sometimes there are accidents. While we try to trim as much as we can, we typically will spend in excess of $50,000 a year just trimming trees. And then keep your documents in a waterproof and fireproof container. We've gone through this before, the Weather Channel. I like Mr. Weatherman. I don't know if it's Brian Shields. I think I said Brian Shields before, and I maybe picked up another name, but it's Mr. Weatherman on YouTube. He does a daily update on YouTube. Information technology, we can spend an hour on this. Change Healthcare. Everybody get a note from Change Healthcare? Yeah, a lot of people did. It's not a scam. Yes, their systems were breached. They have already spent in excess of $1 billion. They were held at ransom for $22 million. They paid the ransom, and it's cost them $1 billion. I also just recently read something. It's not a question of your personal information being stolen. They already have it. They've taken enough information from everybody on planet Earth 7 times over. So it's not a question of, do they have your information? They have it. They've breached enough systems that somebody has your information. It's just a question of, are you going to make sure that you do all the necessary steps so it doesn't go any farther? Like if you get on the phone and somebody asks you, hey, is this Joe Trainer? What should I say? Who's calling? That's exactly what you should say. Don't ever say yes, because the next thing you're going to hear is what? They hung up on you, because now they've got your name and they've got you saying yes that this is you, because how do they identify you over the phone? You saying yes to your name. Please, 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 please don't ever answer the phone and say, yes, this is he or she. There are numerous scams out there. They continue. It is not going to ever stop. Because for every 10 times they're unsuccessful, it only takes them 1 out of 100 to make it worthwhile to them. Because they use robocalls and they use artificial intelligence now to gain access to things. Please. The big one, if you go ahead and you want to, it's just type in Change Healthcare. They believe it was an employee who clicked on an email. Didn't recognize it, but clicked on an email, and as soon as they opened that email, Shazam, and then it spread through there. So for your personal information, if you don't know who sent you that email, don't open it. Don't open it. Be very careful and don't open it. I'm going to tell on myself, read the name of who it came from. I recognized the name, so I clicked on it. All of a sudden, I went back and I checked it again. It was taking me somewhere else, and I shut it down. First thing I did, I called IT. And they said it wasn't any big deal, but it was after the fact. And we have, if you send me an email and I don't respond, your email may have gotten caught by our filter. Because I know sometimes I hear from people that say, hey, Joe, I sent you an email. Well, I didn't receive it. It depends on where your email may be routed through. If it goes through Finland or Norway or Sweden or anything else like that, it could get filtered out by our spam filter. So there have been many times I try to do a good job to go through, check that filter. But when I'm sending emails to myself and they're caught by the filter, I know there's something wrong. But please. Now we're into the fun stuff. Roofing is completed. Pending, we've got a walkthrough next week for pending final payment. We've got some closeout documents. That is the letter of warranty, product warranty, and then there is a 2-year maintenance agreement at no charge on the roofs. So we are thrilled to finally have that project behind us. Gatehouse 2, which I know you're all looking forward to. We've accepted the bid. It's $281,321. We've asked them to go back and value engineer some of the things that they've put in there. We know a bond, construction bond to guarantee the work. Construction bond, if they can't complete the work, we will go ahead and for 60, and it's not like an insurance policy on the project. Somebody else will come in and do the work. It'll pay for somebody else to come do the work. The contract is in process. Contract development is in process with legal. Now, I would expect that to be about 2 weeks, and hopefully we can mobilize the crew in about 4, so somewhere about 6 weeks. What does that stick us? Probably, this is August, right? October 1, somewhere in there. I'm not saying October 1. I'm saying that's kind of where we're projecting this project right now. Fair enough? Water mitigation. As you know, we have pumps in place for the lake and Floribunda Pond. For the buildings and some of the other drainage that we have, we're sending cameras down lines to see if there's any obstructions. Sometimes what has happened is we have found that the people putting in our fiber optics have gone through our water lines, the drain lines, if you will, and then stuff just kind of catches up and it builds up and you can't get by it. So we're sending cameras down as many lines as we possibly can and along the building. If you remember that sometimes in the assisted living, I believe we call it the Audubon Bay parking lot area, that water all runs off of that parking lot and will come right into the doors. So we're redesigning that grid, and we're telling people, because if you wear heels, that grid might be a little bit wider than normal, and don't get your heel caught, but we're going to change that instead of being parallel. We're also purchasing specialized barricades. That was something that came out of our work on the Floribunda Pond, and we will put those in front of the doors, and those will stop water from even getting by that and go down that drain a little bit, and then we're going to put a pump at the end of the drain to make sure that it pumps all that water and keeps that area clear, a sump pump. And then we'll continue to work with an architect on the Holly Branch Pond. We have not heard anything from the city of Orange City yet. They've kind of been kind of quiet. Apartment hallways. We do have one bid at $720,000 plus. We're in the process of securing some additional subcontractors in the meantime. We were able to get some second bids. So the second bids we have are about 303. Right now it's less than half. We've got some additional, we want to make sure that we go through each project, each bid, and make sure that everything is going to be done. So we were able to cut about 50% off our first bid. And we do, the next steps with that for the hallways is that I believe it's going to be Bill, and I think Mark may be joining him to meet with the residents to show them the design boards that we have. We've got 2 design boards per building, and so they're going to go ahead and do that. I believe it's in the next couple of weeks. They plan on doing that to meet with residents in the apartments. An apartment expansion. We talked about this. Our occupancy is stuck on the apartments, right? It's stuck at 58. We just can't get it. Some of the things that we found in our apartments is, one, it is the apartments don't have a second bath. Everybody wants at least 1 bedroom and 2 baths, or a bath and a half. And if we can get 2 full baths in there, all the better. But the ideal is 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, somewhere around 1,000 square feet. Now we're stuck because when we talked before, they built that apartment building in boxes, and the boxes range from 175 square feet to 303 square feet. So it's kind of different. So what we've done is we identified apartments. These are the apartment numbers we've identified. And I've thrown the cost on there. So some of these apartments where you'll see that 102 and 104 Citrus, one of those units has already been done. It's a finished apartment. But we're taking that apartment up to 1,300 square feet. Each apartment will have at least 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. Some will have 2 bedrooms, office, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and an office. So what I decided to do is I'll just show it to you. So you'll come in from the outside. You'll see you'll come into the same little galley kitchen. There's a living room, and you'll see there are 2 bedrooms and bath, and a master bedroom with a master bath and a closet. You have an office with 2 storage closets, and then on the other side is a bedroom with a bathroom in that hall. And obviously that bath is meant for anybody to go ahead and use it. That's why it's not included in there. So that apartment, 202, 204 Bay, will be about 1,386 square feet. Okay? Cool? So let's show you another one. Citrus, be about 1,308 square feet. Again, you'll come through the kitchen. And again, you'll have 2 bedrooms. Actually, looks like you have 3 bedrooms there. 2 baths and an office. So you have a master bedroom on the right, if you want to call it an office next to it, and on the other side you have 2 other bedrooms. We're doing this, we're kind of restricted by the walls and other things that we can do, but we've identified these to be able to, 1, create new pricing and create bigger apartments. While we know it's 1,000 square feet, if we could do them all 1,000 square feet, that would be great. But that's just not going to cut it in some cases, because then we have odd man out. What you're looking at the top of there is that is the porch. There are 2 AC units for that particular unit to kind of keep it cool. There will be a new entrance fee and new monthly pricing. If you remember, we talked before, the apartments originally, those buildings had 144 apartments. Our goal is to cut it down to 72, exactly half. So you can imagine, what was the average size? If the average size now is 1,300 square feet, what was the average size of an apartment when they were originally built? About 650. Okay, and one more. This one's 1,286 square feet. You'll see that, again, it's two bedrooms. You could either make the one at the bottom of the part, you can either make that a big walk-in closet, or you can make it an office. And then the other bathroom is on the other side. Plenty of closet space for those that are looking. And then this one's 1,254. So we have about 4 different designs for the apartments, 4 different square footage sizes. What is our goal? Our goal is to get apartment occupancy up in excess of 93%. That's what our goal is. And if we can get it 100%, better for us. Because the way things are run, the way things are now, people don't want to move into the apartments because many a times the apartment only has 1 bathroom. The next step, blow up the building and start from scratch. You think I'm kidding? All right, shift differential. We had issues with our nursing staff at Majestic Oaks, specifically CNAs, specifically the 3 to 11 and 11 to 7 shift. So on the 23rd, we implemented a shift differential for CNAs. When we roll it out, these are the kinds of things that we do. We go and we explain it to everybody. We meet with everybody. Sometimes we meet with people individually, sometimes small groups. We got really good feedback. And the whole idea is with the shift differential, we could get people to move we have over an abundance of CNAs on days, we could get them to move to a later shift. And indeed, we were able to do just that. We went from 10 full-time open positions to 0 full-time positions. Weekends, we had on the average of 15 open shifts. Now we have 5 open shifts, and the shifts are filled pretty quickly. Our overtime went from 8.2% to 3.8%. And while we did have some people that had resigned, they weren't really working for us anyway, so that wasn't a big deal. But we did have 5 CNAs that moved from 7 to 3 to 3 to 11 and 11 to 7, which balanced our employees' load out. So sometimes we don't always talk about the little things that make us successful in the adjustments. This happens to be one of them. So by just putting money on the other end, not doing it across the board, just putting it on the other end, making it a shift differential, we were able to see some really positive results. Majestic Oaks renovation project. They call it renovation project. I call it an update. It's construction. They started on 200. Essentially, a lot of this 200 hall is done. What they're waiting for is they're waiting for furniture. They're waiting for flooring and furniture. They demoed, took down the wallpaper, lighting, flooring, ceiling tiles. They painted the hallways, the bedrooms and the bathrooms. They painted the wainscoting. They painted the hand covers. They're expecting a shipment in early September. This project was under board approval. It is a $3.5 million project for the renovation. We will do one hallway at a time. And as we finish a hallway, and hopefully we'll be able to move quickly, the work fortunately has gone much quicker than we anticipated. So once we get the furniture and other supplies in, things will start picking up there. We will receive our shipment in 2 bulks. So that's 75 rooms of furniture and stuff all at one time. We will store it in the transportation base. So if you drive down by transportation, you see the van sitting outside. Inside is the furniture that we've stored. Why do we do that? If we go ahead, just by doing it this way and creating a space for storage on campus, we save $250,000 in shipping and storage costs. Yeah, I'm a penny pincher. $250,000 is a lot of money. I can use $250,000 someplace else. So, and then we believe it'll take no more than 6 weeks to complete each hall. So that will happen, once they get in a groove, that will happen much quicker, and we're thrilled about that. They're doing top to bottom. Ceilings, floors, walls, head wall, wainscoting, repainting corner guards. Again, you'll see there it's a $3.5 million project. Oak Park, I believe this is my last one. If you remember a year, probably even more than that, we talked to resident council. We had a resident council committee come together. It's a visioning committee. And what do we do with Oak Park? What kinds of things? One of the things that they came up with was move our services that we have currently at Oak Park and move them closer into the apartments in the commons in the center building. Makes it easier for you. So that's what we're in the process of. If this comes as a surprise to you, you've missed probably a couple of chats. What we do is we have one proposal from one architect that's about 18.6. We're working on another bid. What we're moving is we will move administration and I'm not happy about that, I'll add. We'll move administration, accounting, HR, marketing. I know I'm missing somebody. Down into the Oak Park building, and we'll move those people back. So pharmacy will probably be the last to move. Right now, we have them scheduled to move where, accounting is at, because we're going to push through the wall and take up the conference room that they have. They'll move there. The clinic, Martha, physician's clinic, will go where administration is, kind of be in the center of all the action. Outpatient rehab will go to the gym there. We do plan on continuing to leave equipment there for people to work out, but provide those services a little bit more center-based. With that, we're looking at the parking. One of the conversations that we had is we have 60 plus, maybe 80 plus new people on campus. We're going to go by units and we're going to identify parking for each particular unit. We're also redoing golf cart parking because some of you have larger golf carts and won't fit into the spots as well. So we're going to make golf carts parking a little bit wider and reallocate the reserved spots for apartments and other spots. And with that, we call it the water plant. There's a parking lot there. We're going to resurface that parking lot. We're not going to put down pavement. Our fear is if we pave that, we'll have to put a dry pond somewhere for the water to run off. So all we're going to do is put rock there and create parking spots for employees to park there. So we'll get employees out of those lots and provide better parking for residents during meals, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a project we hope to have completed within the next year. So you'll probably see a lot of movement. First ones to move will be administration. We'll move upstairs to the conference room upstairs, and we'll work out of that conference room upstairs, so then they can reconfigure the clinic. And then once they get done with that and they move the clinic, they'll do work at the clinic, and we will move into the clinic. So administration is scheduled to be upstairs. Accounting is right now anticipated to be where pharmacy is, along with HR. The other downstairs will be marketing. We don't know who we're going to stick with them because they don't get along with a lot of people. I'm teasing, of course. If you haven't picked up on my sense of humor yet, you probably never will. But there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of projects on. I do plan on keeping these projects on a monthly basis. It may seem redundant because some projects will surge forward, some will feel like they're stagnant, but we wanted to make sure that we got those projects moving forward. So, she's coming around with a mic. I want to tell you, so let me ask a good question so I can tell you a big, long story.
Oh, Joe, thank you very much for your service, by the way. We appreciate. The question I had when you said about refiguring the parking, you did not mention, and you have to do this. This is not a question about this. You have to put more handicap spots in John Knox Village. Thank you.
We agree. Absolutely. We walked the parking lots, I think it was Thursday or Friday last week, and that was one of the first things that we noticed. Now, please understand, there will never be enough handicap spots to make everybody happy. But we will add more. We will add more than what we have, okay? So we agree with that. Anybody else?
Just to warn you, you're going to move upstairs in the Oak Park. The elevator has been nicknamed the Tower of Terror. If you've never ridden it, you're going to be terrified.
Well, see, there is a hidden safety measure there, is because now you won't have to take that elevator anymore, right? We understand about the elevator. I have been on the Tower of Terror. I kind of like it. That will also tell you something about my sense of humor and how weird I can be sometimes. Yes, I think there was a question over here. Yes, ma'am.
My question, just an idea, is why don't you put washer and dryers in the apartments? Would make it more attractive, I would think, to people. Because having to go down the hall to do your laundry is really a deal breaker.
And we agree with you about that. So now you opened up that Pandora's box. I'm going to have to I'm going to have to address the issue. And you are absolutely right. We've done research. GE makes a wash machine and a dryer built in one. It's about $1,800, $1,800. If you go to Home Depot, you can get it on sale. I'm on YouTube, aren't I? It is less than desirable. The results are very, very mixed, and it does not perform the way it should be. So we agree. The issue is with the apartments, and we think, and this would make it a slightly different issue, slightly different case, is we don't meet building code by venting those out. I have personally been in a 19-story tower building and had wash machines and dryers, and though they call it a ventless dryer, that doesn't work very well either. Unless they've dramatically improved them, it creates too much humidity within the particular space that it is. So one of the other things that we've talked about is putting a motor that automatically comes on or runs all the time on that dryer vent, so it automatically pushes that exhaust out. That would meet building code, and we're trying to figure out how we do that and add that to these apartments. So you are absolutely right. We stopped doing it because we had to start pulling permits on renovations for the apartments. When I came, we started pulling permits, and it didn't meet the building code. So that's why we did that. Okay? Great question, though. Yes?
What happened to painting the cottages after the roofing was done?
What happened to painting the cottages after the roofing is done? We normally, that was a very expensive project. When we do the renovation to a cottage, we paint it. So in many cases, cottages don't need to be repainted. The only reason we talked about repainting them was to change the color. And one of the things that we have talked about in the past is instead of changing the color of the cottage, what we would do is allow you to change the color of your front door. Now see, I think that's got a little traction there. Because people say, they all look the same, Joe. I'm not looking at that. I'm not looking at the address. And sometimes I drive by it and I don't see the name. But if I'm looking for a blue door, then maybe that would be. That has not fallen off the list. It has just fallen down the list. The things that we have are things that we want to get done most expeditiously. When we get to the point where we're painting front doors, we might not have enough to do.
Joe, I was thinking about that 58% number on the apartments, and I had this idea. I've spoken to people in here that would like to possibly move into the apartments, but they're thinking about moving, but they don't want to because of the moving. Now, could you put in an incentive that you would move their property from their cottage or their Silverstone over to the apartment on your dime? It would be an incentive. It would be something that would cost you money, but it could increase that 58%. Thank you.
Okay. The answer to that is yes, and we have. The issue being is that the whole idea is as people are out, and the whole idea is with the apartments, our apartments were original, they're 50 years old, that people lived in the apartments. And at that particular time, they didn't need as much square feet. Everybody likes more square footage. People in the cottages, there's a huge disparity between the monthly service fee and the entrance fee for an apartment than a cottage of the same square footage. Most people say, nope, I'm going to a cottage. Now, people who think they might want to downsize and move to an apartment, that ship has sailed. We're investing significant, as you saw, significant amount of dollars in the apartments for a particular reason. We want a new entrance fee, and we're reestablishing a more competitive monthly service fee. Now, before the people in apartments jump on me and say, well, Joe, you know that, why don't you just cut the monthly service fee for the apartments? That is an idea that we kicked around. But the big issue still is, even if I drop it, however percent or whatever, still does not change, still sometimes 1 bedroom, 1 bath. People want 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. Let's do an informal poll. How many of you would you move into an apartment with 1 bedroom, 2 baths versus 2 bedrooms, 2 baths? 1 bedroom, 2 baths. How many would you move in? You got to get your hands up. Yeah. Now, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. How many of you do it? There is our case in point. It fits with what we want to do. It fits a far greater percentage of the population, and that's why we're doing it. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I think 1,300 square feet is a little bit too big. Somebody's going to say, that's too much for me to take care of. Too much. And in fact, Joe, that's 1,300 square feet is bigger than some cottages. Yes. We want to give people who would normally move into a cottage an alternative to be closer to resources. That's why we're also putting the clinic, the pharmacy, and outpatient rehab back into the center building. All right, one more question.
I'm changing gears here. Are there plans, Joe, to resurface some of those blacktop driveways that are so broken up they're actually a tripping hazard?
Yes. One of the projects, as we continue to move along with this, that we didn't show is finalizing our infrastructure. And I say that because we want to make sure, that's why we're sending cameras down water drains and sewer drains to make sure everything is clear. We know we have problems with our roads. To repave the village, you want to guess what it costs to repave the village? I hear a number? $4.5 million. Just for somebody to come and repave the village. Repave what we have. And there's some spots that, I'll tell you, are too tight and we need to make them wider. So we want to identify those areas. We would love to be able to just put down a really quick cold patch. What we may do is, for those particular areas, come by, skim that area, and then repave that, and then come back and repave the village. But that's a project. Repaving the village is something we have on our list within the next 3 years. So, okay. Thank you all right, I'll take one more. Just one more.
I have a question on the apartments. I plan someday, if I need to be where everything is closer, to move in here. I moved in 11 years ago. My equity is not very high. I would be paying, if I had to move into this big house, which I no longer need, 2 of us moved here. I'm by myself now. We needed, and I have a Rose, which we've adapted, and it's fine. I don't need a big apartment. Okay, how am I going to afford this new apartment? I've been here. I have just, the Roses were much less at that time I moved in than they are now. I don't need this big apartment, and I don't need the monthly fee that goes with them. And so it kind of means I have to stay in my cottage until I need the rest home.
It's either 1, you need to stay in your cottage, or 2, you need to make a move really, really fast.
I don't want to. I love my cottage.
Here's why
I'm
we
just
plan
thinking
why we
about-
plan on addressing all of them. We know that we can't take every single unit and make it 1,300 square feet. We're going to pepper some things around. It just so happens to be, as you can tell, Citrus Building. People live in Citrus don't do a lot of recruiting for residents in apartments because that's where a lot of our openings are at. And if you look at the second floor Citrus specifically, there are a number there. So we decided to start, that's why most of them were at the Citrus Building. We wanted to be able to come up with a number of units. So I think that's 6 units that we have approved. We won't do every single unit because there will be some people that are going to look for, but I'll give you some more statistics. We have 62 apartments out of 100 that have 1 bedroom, 1 bath. 62. Now you said, Joe, your occupancy is 58. Well, some of the bigger apartments are sold. Some of the bigger apartments, small percentage, are not. But the issue, that's why it comes down to not necessarily the location. It comes down to, us paying to move you into an apartment. The issue comes down to 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, almost flat out. And if we could redo everything that way, we would do most. But we know other people are going to downsize from cottage, move into an apartment that's maybe about 800 square feet with at least 1 bedroom and 2 baths, if not 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. So the ones of the apartments that are already bigger, we may not even touch. Those that are over 800 square foot. All right, that's a lot of information. It's more information you should be having right now, but you have a beautiful day, and thank you. We'll see you back in September.